let's automate Microsoft Planner. So you find Planner by going to planner.cloud.microsoft. Here we will create a new board and we will interact with other Microsoft 365 programs such as Form and Teams. To automate everything, we will use Microsoft Power Automate, but let's get back to that. So first of all, we want to simulate an IT support function today. Please build this with me because you will learn how to automate any planner board afterwards. So first, let's create a team in Microsoft Teams. That is the team of our support. So the intuition is that we go here to Teams. The intuition is that we want to report whenever a new task is created in our planner board. We want to report that to Microsoft Teams. So go to Chat in Microsoft Teams, Teams and Channels, hit the three dots and say your Teams and Channel. Here I will create a new team. You could of course use an existing one, but since I have people in this, colleagues and such, I prefer to create a new one for this demo. We can give it a name. So here we can say issue reporting demo. Description is optional, so we'll leave that out. Private people need to get invited for this. And then we want to call the first channel support issues and create. Then in a couple of seconds, we can add support members to this team. We will not do so. Let's say that we have the responsibility alone, at least today. So here we have a new team and the first channel is called support issues. So here we want whenever a new task is getting created in Planner, we want to post it here. We'll also have an email if we rather want that, or other Microsoft 365 storage methods such as Excel or Word or whatever we like. Let's minimize this and go back to Planner. We will create a new plan. Go down to the left corner. Here we will have a base one. We can give it a name. Let's call this IT support issue tracking. Then we can add it to a group, and this will be the group that we just created. You will go down to the end where you'll find the issue reporting demo and hit create. So now we have an empty board. Let's rename this to do. Here I will call this one new issues. So whenever our support receive a new IT issue, then they will appear here in this board as individual tasks. Then we could add a few more. I can say in progress like this. I could add one that says closed. So these are the three buckets that we have. And let's talk a little bit about how can we get issues, tasks in here automatically in a Microsoft Planner bucket. Well, that is easy. We can use, for example, forms. We could also use email. But today we will use forms because then we can send a link to that form that could be the same link to our colleagues. So whenever they have an issue, they can report that and they will end up here. Let's open up a new browser tab and go to forms.microsoft.com. Here we will create a new form. We can give our form a title. Let's close down Copilot. That is a fantastic feature, but let's create it manually. Then we can 100% decide what should go into this. Here could be report an issue like this. Then there could be an issue title. This is up to the user. So here I will say issue title. Let's make this required so the user has to fill in this. And let's also go to the three dots. Here we can have a restriction. Let's just say that the length should be at least 5 characters. Then there can also be an elaborate description of the issue. So here I can say issue description. This is also required. We could choose to make this a long answer, then the input box is expanded. Then we want to categorize the issue, or the user should categorize it. So here I will choose choice. Let's say this is a category. Right now, these are radio buttons. But if I go to the 3 dots here, I can choose a drop down. And then we can say hardware. These will be the categories. Software. Network. Access rights, and another option. We could do a lot of other things. For example, we could have a priority here in choices. One will be priority, and this could be low, medium, and not high. Let's call this one important. Then we will also have an email of the colleague that reports this issue. So let's go down to text. Let's say contact. Let's go to the 3 dots and say restrictions and email. So now we have report an issue. That's the title, issue description, category, priority, let's just spell it right. And then we have the content. Yeah, now we can start to gather responses. To do so, we can say collect responses. Then we can choose which of our colleagues should be able to respond here. Right now, it's only people in my organization. Let's just stick with that. I can copy the link. Let's go see it in action. So if I paste it in here, we have the issue title. Let's just say Windows 11. And I can say my Windows 11 is not activated. So this is a category software. A priority could be medium, and then I could put in my email like this. But right now nothing happens. So we need to connect this Microsoft Forms with the Microsoft Planner task, the plan that we just created here. So here we would like a task. We can do that over in Microsoft Power Automate, a fantastic program. You will find that by going to make.powerautomate.com. Go down to create here. And here you can see that we could create a few different flows. We want an automated cloud flow. That is a trigger-based flow. This flow should start whenever something happens. And what is going to happen? That is whenever we get a new Microsoft Forms response. So choose the automated cloud flow. We can also give this a name. I will say IT support auto create task. Choose something describing so you can easily find your flow when you need to maintain it in the future. Here you can search for your triggers, but ours is actually the first. If yours does not appear in the first, you just search for when a new response is submitted. Up here it will look like this. When a new response is submitted, then you see it here. Let's hit create. So this is our trigger. This will be up here. Just go click it. This needs a parameter value. That will be the form ID. The form ID is the title of our form, which is the report an issue right here. Click the drop down. Then you scroll all the way down to report an issue. Go select that. So this is just a trigger. This will just start the flow. Then we need to gather the input from this forms. We will do that with the next action. So actions are performed in a sequence here. Here you will say get response details. And you will choose the one here in the Microsoft Forms. Again, we will say from which form ID do we want to look in. That will be the report an issue here. And then we also say, so we can have multiple responses in a form. So if I fill in another forms in this report an issue, then we have 2 responses. We want to make sure we pick the right. So we want to say we pick the response that triggered this very flow. You can do that by going down here in the response ID, click the lightning. And then under when a new response is submitted, you find the response ID. That makes sure that we pick the correct one. Then I can save flow. So this will just start the flow and collect the things that we will do. You can also see I save it here and there. We can test it for now. Of course, nothing will happen over at the planner, but we can just see that we can actually get the response in here and work with it. In fact, right now, when I saved it, it is live, but I can also choose test. Then we can see that it starts in a few seconds when we report an issue. So go to report an issue and then submit another response. Let's again go with Windows 11. The issue description is that my desktop is blurry. This will also be software, at least that's what I choose here, medium, and let's go with our email. So once we send this forms response, then we can go back here. Then you will see that this flow kicks off. Of course, in the real world, you don't have to sit and look at this. It's perfectly fine just to have it run in the background. And that's what we want here. We want to make sure that we have no manual work. So here it works. Sometimes it takes like 5 to 60 seconds. But did I not send it here? I did not. That's why it didn't start. Now you can see it start. So here the flow triggered, and then we have the get response details. So if I go down to show raw outputs, then I can just inspect that I actually have the email, the title, the description, the category, the priority, and the contact person. Now we can start to work with this. This is a JSON format, but we can make it a lot easier. But let me just show you what all of this is. So the response of this comes in this JSON. This is, you can see it's a JSON because there's a curly bracket in the start and in the end. Then we have key value pairs. For example, we have here in the headers, we have a lot of other key value pairs. For example, the XMS tenant ID, and then we have a value. That will be the unique value of our tenant. Down here, instead, if I go down to body, here we have the things that we want to extract. For example, the issue description. Let's create a task over in Microsoft Planner based on when we get this forms. So I can close this and then I click edit. Then I want to say plus here, and then I can go to create a task. You can take the first one here or this one. For this example, does not make a difference. This is the new one. Once something says preview, that is the new version. Microsoft don't recommend to use preview actions for production, but in this case, make a difference. Then I can say, well, I need a group ID for where to create this task. Here we will go in the group issue reporting demo. We created then that a little bit later. Then we have the plan ID. Here we will only have the IT support issue tracking. Remember, we created that over here in Planner. Then we can also put in a title of the issue. Over here, I can click the lightning. We will choose the title from which our colleague filled in that one in over at Microsoft Forms. Don't worry, we will make it much cooler, but for now, this is a start. Then I can hit save again, and now it's live, it's updated. I don't have to click test, but when I develop, it's nice because then I can see the flow runs and inspect the different outputs. We go back here and submit another response. I call this network. I can't log on to the Wi-Fi. The category now, that will be network. The priority will be important, and let's just go to my own email again and hit submit this time. Then I will go back here and then I will see that the flow runs. We have it. We can also see that it actually created a task. And if I go back to my board, here you just need to refresh your board, then your task is there. It's called network. Right now we have nothing in it. You can see it's in the no bucket. We want to make sure that we go to new issues, but this is a start. We will also have a start date and a due date priority. So let's just go with these steps. Time. For now, good. I think we will go up here and then delete the new bucket. We will not use that. We'll make sure that they appear here in new issues. I go back to my flow and hit edit. Because now I want to click the create a task, and then we also want to fill in a few other parameters. So if I go to show all, then I can see here that I have a lot of different parameters. They will correspond to the parameters over in the task. Let's take them one by one. So the bucket idea. Here you can see that we have our 3 buckets in our planner plan. So we want to make them go into new issues once they come from this forms. Then I can also say the start time. Here I could say that I just want the current time. Microsoft tracks the current time in UTC time, so I need to convert it. I use the West Europe Standard Time, so I'll go with that. Now we will introduce another concept that will be expressions here in Power Automate. So you can click down here and then you click the expression. So I will teach you about the basic of expressions. You just need to work with these a few times. Watch a few more of my videos, then these will be really easy to get. So the first thing we can do, we can get the time. I can say UTC now. You can see this autocomplete. You can just hit enter, then we have the UTC now. We need to convert this into our time zone, and we will use West Europe Standard Time today. So I put my mouse over here, and then I find a convert time zone. Again, I can click enter. Then you want a start parentheses, and now you can see we have our start time. Then you go to the UTC now and have a comma. Then we need to tell Power Automate in this expression what is our source time zone. Then in single quotation marks, you will say TC. Then we also need to fill in the destination time zone. So here you will have a comma. And then in single quotation marks, you will say B. You can look those up, by the way. You can just Google them. Say West Europe Standard Time, like this. Then you also want to end the parentheses, that is the convert. We do like this. Then you can hit add. Sometimes it will say that it is a problem. Don't worry, you can just hit add a second time, then it will work. You can hover your mouse over the expression, and here we have it. Then we can add a due date. Let's say that we want to handle support issues every 3 days, so that will be a due date in 3 days. Then I can go down here to due date. Then we're going to add a little thing to this. Let's just reuse this expression up here. I will open it, mark it, and say Control-C, and I'll go back to the due date and let me have the expression. So what I will do here, that will to take the UTC now, and then I'll add 3 days. I can do that very easily. I can just say, I can use the addDays, do like this. Then I can have a parentheses. Then I have my timestamp here. You can see that will be the UTC now. Then I can have a comma. How many days do I want to add? Let's add 3. Remember to end this parentheses with, remember to end this parentheses. That will be this parentheses that we added after the addDays. Then we sometimes, actually you can see here that was a problem before. I recommend that you copy the new one because sometimes they magically disappear. So when I hit add, problem again, and we hit add. Go down here and make sure that you have the updated expression. So I know that these can be hard to grasp in the beginning. My best advice is just to create them here. Try to understand as much as possible. It's perfectly fine if you don't remember. Believe me, you will. Then we can have user IDs. So here that will be the email of the user I want to assign this to over in the planner. I just pick my own here. Then we also have a priority. Here you can see that the valid range of values, we can give it a value of 0 to 10. And that is when we want to print it over here in the planner task. So that is 0 to 1, that is urgent, 2 to 4 is important, 5, 6, 7 is medium, and 8, 9, 10 is urgent. Since we only have 3 categories, let's just assign them values of 1, and then we can have, that will be urgent, and then we can have, sorry, that will be high, and then we can have 5 and 9, something like that. Let's go do that. So high, important, medium, sorry, urgent. So you can also see that we have a description down here. So that is that planner interprets value 0 to 1 as urgent, 2 to 3 and 4 is important, 5, 6, 7 medium, and 8, 9, 10 is low. Let's have values of, we will have urgent, that will be 1. Then we will have medium, that will be 5, and then we will have urgent, we will have important, we will have medium and low. Let's just go with important, medium, and low. So that will be 5, that will be 2. Let me get back to that, sorry. Here we will have the 2, we will have the 5, and we will have 8. We could also choose other values, but that will be the one that we get here. So here we need to talk a little bit about how we can get that out. So here, let me just save it, because we need to look at the output from this up here, get response details. We can inspect that by going back here. And here we have the 2 other runs. Go click in here, click the create a task. I really hope you like these live builds, because then you get all my thoughts also when I take a few seconds more like before to explain things, but then you also see me making mistakes. And if you like these videos, please give them a thumbs up. That will really help me a lot. Thank you. Then I can go to show raw outputs. So as you can see here, that was the get response details and show raw outputs. So here we need to get out the priority. We have that here in the body. So this is the body, and then we will have this one here. These get unique values, but this is the priority. Let me open up a notepad. I prefer sometimes when I teach to do that in the notepad. Let's just see that if I want to get the priority out. Let's talk a little bit about how we do that. Priority. Then we can create an expression. Let me priority. Do it like this. Then we can say, well, move into the get response details. And then the spaces, that will be these underscore. We can do that by saying, we can have the outputs off, and then we can have in single quotation marks, we will have title, Control C, go to our notepad. Let's have a single quotation more. So this will just give us this entire JSON. I want to move in here. I want to move into the body, and here I will have a question mark. So then I will have a hard bracket, and then I will say move into the body. That is fine. And then I will have a forward slash, and then I will go into ID here. So go copy that, Control C. Then you go back to our expression, say Control V, have a single quotation mark, and have a hard bracket. So this is how you get these ones out. I prefer to have them here because then it's easy also to see how we actually do this. And believe me, you will this. So this is the priority. What we will do is to copy it here and then go back to our flow and hit edit. Because we want to go into create a task. Now we're in the editor, not in the flow run log anymore. Go hit show all and go all the way down here to priority. Then you will insert this expression. So here we need to think us a little bit about, because here we will ask some questions. We will say, is the value of this priority high? Then we will give it the value 1, 2 was it, or otherwise 5 or 8. Or let me just be sure again, maybe I should write this down. As you can see here, we have, we will use 2, we will use 5 and 8, where 2 is important, 5 is medium, and 8 is low. Let's just go down here and let's just make sure that I also have this 2, 5, 8. It would be nice if I could just type in a hard-coded value, but that's not. We cannot do that here. So let's just have a 2, 5, 8. Make sure I have this copied. Now we go to priority, and then I want to say I want to ask a question. So then I want to say if. Here I ask a question. We ask a question with an if. Then we have an expression. So what I want to do here is to ask if this expression, that priority, is that equal to high, then we want to assign it to value. So here I can say equals like this, and then in parentheses we want to say what we'll have like this. We will have the object 1. That is the first part we want to say compare with this. And then we also want to have a comma. Then we have the object 2. So if it is high, because that's what we chose here in the report and issue, low, medium, important. Here we will have it as important. Then we can say, well, if this equals important, then we can say what is going to happen once this is correct. Then I can have, sorry, I will go out here. So we want to be inside this equals here. So I'll have a comma, then I'll have value if this is true. So this is the important one. And if I go down here, then I can see that we set the important one as 2. So here I will assign it with the value 2. Then I also want to say, comma, what should be the value if this is false? That is, if this is not important. Then I know that, at least when it comes in here, that the priority is either low or medium. So then I can say, well, let's have another question. Ask, is this medium? If it is, then we will give it the value 5. Otherwise, we will give it the value 8. So what I can do here is to, again, ask the same thing as I asked here. Just make sure that you are after this comma. So here I would have another if equals. I know that we need to, we will copy everything here. So I will say Control C, and then I will paste it in here. So we still need to say, we still look at the same priority. Now I will just ask, well, is this medium? That was the second part the user could have assigned it for. We will have medium here. So medium, if it is medium, then we need to decide what is going to happen when it's medium. So then the value will be true, that will be 5, and the value from false, that will be 8. Then we just need to have this parentheses closed up here. And now sometimes again they disappear, so I like to mark them, say Control-C. You will have a problem, but once you click the second time, you will have your long expression down here. Now we can test it. So now we want to see, do we get the priority right? And do I also have a start date, a due date, and an assigned user date? And finally, is it in the correct bucket ID? So the issue title, again, that will be Windows 12. I haven't got the new license yet. And then we want to have it in a category that will be software. Let's say that this is important. This one will be anders@andersjensen.org. Hit submit. So I really hope that we hit saved. Otherwise, if we haven't clicked save, then it will run. Let us just go back here. So here we have it. Let's just see that here we have the show raw outputs. Let's just go to the planner board. Let me refresh it. Now this looks much better because at least we have in the correct bucket. That will be the new issues here. We have assigned it to this email, which is me. We have a start date and a due date, and we have the priority medium. Here, let's just see that it works. Let's try to add a low priority for the next issue here. Let's get a quick one. So here we have a Windows 12, no license, need one, category, software again, and let's have a low, so we see that that works as well. Always test your solutions. We do like this, and right now it's just your flow ran successfully. We can always go back to the flow run log here, then you see it. We can also go back here, and now we have a new one. Was it this? And now the priority is indeed low. We have everything correct. Then we can also see that we want a description, because right now we just have these notes, type description or add notes here. So the description is not there yet, but that is very, very easy to find. We will do this, and then we go back to Power Automate. Let's hit edit. So here I also, right now here in the create a task, for some reason you cannot write the note down here. No problem. We will just follow up with an update task details, and then you want to pick update task details. So the task ID, right now you only have here my old tasks, but if you go down here to enter custom value, then you can see the lightning is over here. Click the lightning. Then in the create a task, then we say we want to update the same ID as we just created. So we find the ID here. Now you see that we get a description. Click the lightning. And in the get response details, find the issue description from the user. Then we also have that one here. Remember to save it, test it. Just do this. So this is just to see whenever we trigger it, then it's easy to see when it runs. My mouse need batteries. The category, that will be hardware. The priority is important. And we will have an email. Click submit, and then we will go to our flow. We will see that it runs. So all good here. When you see no errors, then we can go down here, and we have the mouse. We can see that now it's important. And in the notes, we now have my mouse need batteries. Still in the correct bucket, of course, and with the correct start date and due date. Let's also say that once an issue is created here, then we want to notify IT. We can do that with a Teams message. So once this has happened, we can go down here. Let's have a plus, and then I can find post a Teams message in a chat or channel. Take that. Here I can say who should post this. I prefer the flow bot, but you can also have Power Virtual Agents, or you can have it from a user, for example, yourself or a colleague. We just go with the flow. Then we can say, where should we post this? Since we already created a channel, that was one of the reasons, go pick channel here, and then these options up. Then we want in the team, that will be the issue reporting demo here. The channel, well, that was the support issues. And then we can send a Teams message. Let's have an alarm. So add an, and then I can new issue submitted like this. Then I can have a title. And I can choose that from the dynamic expressions. Let's go down here and pick the issue title. Then I can have a priority. And if you want help for all this, Power Automate solutions, then I created a community. The link is down below in the description, or you can watch the guide up in the right corner. Let me just show you how cool this is. So here I have my I love automation. That is a fantastic place. We chat about our everyday, but I can also say, well, I want some Power Automate help. Then I just go down here to the Power Automate Cloud Help, and you can see we help each other with solutions. So that is a nice place to be. The link is in the description below, or you can watch the video. Let me close this again. And we have the priority here. Then we have the category. These are just from the form. And then we have the here. And let's just stick with this. When we need to get more advanced in a few minutes, we will also have a direct link to the planner task, but one step at a time. Let me hit save here. So the only thing we added, that is a post message in a chat or channel. Again, I can hit test if I want to see it runs. Let's submit another issue. So right now, the printer is not stopping to print. Please help. Then we have a category that could also be hardware, priority, probably important. So now I want to see that this is to be posted on my Teams channel. So here we should see it runs. You can go to your Teams. Sometimes this is takes a little bit longer, but we can go to our team. Here we have it. Just in new issue submitted, title, priority, category, contact. But it could be nice if we had a link here. Let's do that, because that will also teach us more about Power Automate. So if we just minimize this, and let me also just say, well, I need to get a link. And if I go to a planner task, I could take the printer here. Then you can see that each planner task got a unique URL. That means that you can see here that these ones are changing. For example, I have this. So actually the last part is just the tenant ID. Let's copy everything and let's again go to our notepad, because now we want to, so here I can say random planner task. I like to do this, and please remember to also save these. So sometimes I just say Control S. Right now it's on my desktop, and here I can say planner tutorial. This is, I usually save it in a subfolder, but then I have it. So once I come back tomorrow, I have these expressions. So sometimes I also say, well, I had a great, created a great expressions 2 weeks ago. Let's reuse it. So that is one thing I could not recommend enough. So actually what we want is that this is changing. This also means that if we have this entire URL, you will come to this Windows 12 issue. Let me just show you. Control C. If I open up a new tab, paste this in, you will see that the Windows 12 opens. We want to do it dynamically, so the link should go to the issue just created. let's do this together. So this is a random task. This is the tenant ID. This will be the same. What we need to get is this task ID up here because that one is changing. So we need to figure out how to get this, and this is on to task ID. Once we get this, we can have this dynamic URL. So these are the two, well, the two things that you and I will find now. So the task ID, let's go here. So up here, when we create it, or here, we can go to the created task. Let's go to show raw outputs. So what we have here, we have the headers, and then we also have this body where we will have an ID. So we want to go into the body, into the ID, and then we want to find this. So this was our last one, and that one was the printer. So this also means that if I go here, see that, sorry, I go in here, and let me just change this URL. I paste this in, and then what I want to show you is that we now open up the printer. So we get this right. Now we just need to create an expression for it. So what I do here, that is to find the task ID. Well, I want to go to the outputs of. I could either go with, actually there will be both here and here. We will just take the created task. So I go here, and then in single quotation mark, I say, go into the create task. Then we want to say, where should you go in? Here I can say, go into the body, and then go to ID. I could do this here. Last time we had it in the same expression with a slash, but here, let's just do this. So each level of this, you can see body is the parent of ID, is surrounded, it is parted with a question mark, and I do like this. So this is the expression for finding the ID. And then we just need to combine this random planner task, that is the syntax, with this task ID. So here, that is literally just to say, here, this is the first part here. Then we want to concat it with this, and finally, this is the second part. We do that with a concat in the expression. So I say concat here. And then I will say, well, in single quotation marks, what is the first part? That would be this. So I do like this. Then I say comma. Then I want my expression. I just take this here. I say mark it and say Control C. Go down here, and then I will have a comma and the last part here. In single quotation marks like this, remember to enter the parentheses. So this is our dynamic URL. We mark it, say Control C, then we go back to our flow, click edit, go to the post message in a chat or channel. Let me do a few line breaks, and then I can, it's not necessary, but I think it looks nice. Link to plan issue. Then I have a colon, go to my expression builder. Here I have my expression. Let's just click add, and we have it. Let's save and test, and maybe I can, it's up here, test this manually. So now it waits for an answer. So here I can call this Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is not working on and off. Problem. The category, that will be network this time. This will go. And we have a person like this. So now we should see that our flow kicks off. Once we have it here, we actually saw it here. And then we can look at the message. So if I go down here, then we have a link here. It's not clickable yet, but just mark it. Let's just go test it. So this one was our new Wi-Fi problem. All good. Now we just need to make this clickable, so the IT support are not going to click this, copy paste this over and over, but can click it. Let's go back here. Let's talk a little bit about how we can do that. Here we can just do some HTML formatting. So we can create a new expression, and then we want to make this clickable. So actually I've created it for you if you want it, and that's because I don't type for too long. So just do this. I go down here and then we change our expression. Let me Control V, paste this in. So here we have the AARF. You can also use ChatGPT or Copilot for these things. Then we have a title called Open Planner Task. Actually, you can see it here and it opens up in a blank window. This also means that with this here, we hope that it actually saved it. It did not. I will do this, click update, and then we have it saved. Let's go test that as well, because that is really nice that we can also make clickable links to the planner board. And yes, I really hope you like these live build guides. I find them very nice to make because I believe that you hear the whole thought process and also see me get stuck here and there. Let's have a new title. Keyboard. Keyboard is cannot type A and B. Can you help? Of course, in the real world, these will be longer. Then the category, this time will be hardware. It's important, and .org. Then we can click submit, and then we will see that this flows off. The only thing that we change, that will be the clickable link. We want to see that happens. We have it down here, new issue submitted. Then I can choose to open the planner task and go directly to that. Your next advanced Power Automate video is right here. That is all about UI automation. That's it. Power Automate in its desktop version can automate any web page or application. See you there.